Like I said, fear is so grappling, it makes you overthink the littlest things. And in that pursuit of worrying about the littlest things, you forget about why you even started, which I kind of forgot in a sense. You forget that, okay, I need to sleep enough. I need to make sure I de-stress. I need to make sure my mind's right. I'm not like stuff going on 24/7. The thing is, if you lose that clarity, you're gonna lose the clarity to put action at the things you want to do and action at the things you want to do for other people. Honestly, the world as a whole, because you're just stuck in a loop of doing nothing and thinking of nothingness, It shouldn't matter, oh, I'm this, I'm that. I'm just a human being trying to do something good. You know what I'm saying? I think that's enough in this world, You just being a human being that's trying to evolve and learn new things and branch out here and there, because that's life. You can't just stay married to one approach. Hi, y'all. See you back in here in the episode of Indigo Podcast, and today the title of this episode is I need to be more content with myself, and maybe you do too. I ain't gonna lie, this title's a bit strange, like it's a bit lengthy, but however, this is generally what I wanted to call it, just because I don't know, it's just how I felt about the topic and I guess the whole realm of what I'm about to get into. But however, I just feel like this the stuttering. This is the epitome of what I'm dealing with in my life right now. And I feel like I'm progressing in some areas, like for example, the half marathon prep's going fairly well. If you're curious, I had an 8-mile workout this morning. I hit 2 out of 3 of the splits, not gonna lie. Would have hit the third one. Me being completely honest with myself, I would have hit the third one if I've been prioritizing my sleep. But as I get into this topic, I'm not trying to play the victim as to why I didn't hit that last split, because it's my responsibility to take care of my recovery and sleep. Anyway, overall, it's going good. And then also with the content, last video I posted, it wasn't even 24 hours. I hit 1K views. I'm like, okay, little motion. But other than that, honestly, I've not been progressing at all mentally or personally. And to be honest, just mentally. Mentally is the main thing, I just think it stems from one or maybe two things. But I think the main thing, which is somewhat, it's in the title, contentment. I think that's the main thing. Because according to Google, contentment is the state of being happy and satisfied. Contentment, as I've stated before, is not being complacent, which is, and I quote, feeling satisfied with your own ability situation, that you feel that you do not need to try harder. Because I feel like a lot of people, I think like I've used this example before, but a lot of artists and rappers and even singers or whatever, they get to a certain stature or status and they're like, oh, why do I have to put effort into my music anymore? I already got money, so I don't really care. But a lot of like other artists, for example, like maybe a Kendrick Lamar or a Tyler the Creator, or maybe like even Nas or something, like they're still producing quality music because they generally have a passion and a love for the music and the art they're creating, instead of just being complacent. Like I got buku money now, so I ain't gotta put effort into it, but they're kind of missing the plot, But anyway, with all that out of the way, the first thing I want to get into, which I think is the most notable factor that's been holding me back personally, maybe you too, because I think I hear a lot of people say this, and a lot of people that I might have looked up to, they might have a podcast too, and they come out and say, oh, this is what I was dealing with behind the scenes. But first thing I think that goes with being content is fear of judgment. And I think that fear of judgment is directly associated with one word: change. Because I think in life, when you're tied to one identity, because some people might see me, oh, he's vegan, he does this, he's a runner, he does motivational videos, blah blah blah, and I just feel like that's great and all, but I feel like if you tie yourself to a word or a thing or an idea, you're limiting yourself in a way, because you're limiting yourself to grow and evolve past that, And I feel like with me personally, like things that I've done now, I don't come out and say I'm this, I'm that. I just let people think what they think, because I'm not about to, I think it's a waste of my time to come on here and say I'm this, I'm that. Like I don't really, some people might, if you feel very grabbed by something and you want to put that on your bio, like, oh, this and that, I'm this, I'm that, or whatever, that's great. But for me personally, I don't like that. I just think it's kind of weird, in my opinion. Not saying you're weird for doing that, but for me, in my eyes, I just feel kind of weird saying I'm this or I'm that. I'm just a human being that's trying to get after, what I'm saying, and be great. But anyway, I think identity, if you've been doing something for so long, you may feel like you're obligated to do that same thing forever because you've been doing that, and especially if you're documenting it like me, because I'm very open and honest about, well, to an extent, obviously you don't want to lay everything out there, but I'm very honest and I'll say authentic about what I think and what I'm dealing with, and the fact that, I deal with some things just like you may as well. But I just think in this day and age, we may feel like we're going to be attacked, especially, like I said, if you're like me and you document pretty much everything you're doing. Like, I document my training, a lot of things I cook in my diet, and I document, me just talking and speaking my mind, and there's always going to be some type of judgment behind the scenes or in front of the scenes. Someone's like, I don't agree with that, or blah, 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 or, oh, you're eating this, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? So I just think, especially like in my situation and just in life in general, when you go out in the public eye, I feel like a lot of times we fear, or what if they think this, or what if they don't agree with this, or what if they attack me for this? Because the thing is, cancel culture or whatever, because a lot of it is warranted, because some people do some outlandish things, but a lot of times you're just quote unquote canceling someone because they don't agree with what you deem as quote unquote right. You know what I'm saying? I think people can agree to disagree. Stuttering again, agree to disagree. But I think, which I'll get into later, a big thing is nuance, which I missed the point of, because I realized that it doesn't matter whatever approach I apply to myself. Someone's going to be like, well, not even someone's going to be like, let me rephrase. Someone is going to do something different. And I'm not going to lie, that difference, that differentiation, I ain't gonna lie, that I guess subjectivity is a better word, between me and person B, that was kind of unsettling for me. I don't know why. It might sound so weird, but I'm not gonna lie, it just felt unsettling, because like, I want to do this, but I want to do this what they're doing, but I want to do it my own way. And just the fact that I'm not doing it 100% the way they're doing kind of felt weird to me. That sounds so weird saying out loud, which makes you realize that I ain't gonna lie, I was so dumb. But I'm just being honest. I'm just telling you how I was thinking, because I think when you have fear, and especially fear of judgment, you think things that don't make sense in the logical scheme of things. Because me just saying it out loud on here did not make any sense. Because why would you be worried if you're not doing something 100% the way someone else is doing it? That's life. You know what I'm saying? And I've had a really hard time with that the past 3 months, because it's just, I think fear of judgment comes from a desire to be 100% perfect and 100%, like having everything down to a T, and the thing is, you might think something right now and you might apply it, and you might apply it for a couple months and you realize, hey, I kind of went wrong here. And then you might go back and revise, but I just think fear of judgment paralyzes you. It's dark, it's grim, and it's just not a good place to be at all. Just speaking from experience, because you kind of feel like a fraud, especially like with me, where I'm at personally, me documenting pretty much everything I'm doing, showing recipes, giving good tips and advice, which I'm not gonna lie, a lot of times I give advice. I've heard this a lot of times with people that give people advice and they don't practice what they preach, in a sense. Well, I'm not saying like, it's just like, in terms of, I guess, the whole motivational stuff, and you saying, like what I just said, like not caring what people think and blah, blah, blah. And I had a podcast a while ago called Stop Chasing Other People's Dreams. But in reality, I feel like I low-key was, but I didn't realize it until now. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't gonna lie, it's just hard when you know the right answer, but I guess the cost that comes with that right answer, and it kind of puts you on blast in a sense, just within yourself, because it makes you realize that it just kind of makes you more vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? It makes you more open, pause. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it identifies weak spots. You know what I'm saying? And that can be scary, because you really have to dive deep into that and figure that out. And I just think it's not because I don't know the answer per se, but just because I know how big of a change it would be. And I just think a lot of times when we overthink what to do, we overemphasize and kind of make the quote unquote decision more grand than we think it is. You know what I'm saying? We just exaggerate it. We think, some people's gonna come down my house with pitchforks and they're gonna burn my house down. I'm like, no, it's just a slight change. It's not really that deep. People probably don't care as much as you think. And to be honest, if they did, it probably shouldn't matter. And like I said, I think I've had a hard time realizing that, but I know it's the truth. So I'm gonna put it for the world to hear. I think that's the truth. Because I just think if you fear being judged all the time, you're not really living your life to the fullest. You're not really living the life that you're trying to chase and live for yourself, because you're living for someone else. But further, last thing I kind of want to go into before going into the next part, which I think is very important, when we're scared of judgment, we lack clarity, we lack nuance, we lack the full capacity to take care of ourselves and those around us because we're too busy to please, quote unquote, them. Them. Because the thing is, them is like, honestly, it's no one. It's just the idea. You know what I'm saying? But in reality, those people probably don't care as much as you think, which is like what I kind of went over. But because just speaking from experience, me worrying so much about, oh, what if this decision sparks this reaction? What if this decision sparks this reaction? What if this person disagrees or maybe unfollows me or something, which I ain't gonna lie, it's all stupid. But I just think, like I said, fear is so grappling, it makes you overthink the littlest things, and in that pursuit of worrying about the littlest things, you forget about why you even started, which I kind of forgot in a sense. You forget that, okay, I need to sleep enough. I need to make sure I de-stress. I need to make sure my mind's right. I'm not like, it's just like stuff going on 24/7, and the thing is, if you lose that clarity, you're gonna lose the clarity to put action into things you want to do and action into things you want to do for other people. Honestly, the world as a whole, because you're just stuck in a loop of doing nothing and thinking of nothingness, But I think the biggest thing here is quote unquote them, because who's they, who's them, you know what I'm saying? Because I think, like for me, for example, me just being me, obviously, I've built somewhat of a following of people that just like me for me as a human being, and it shouldn't matter, oh, I'm this, I'm that. I'm just a human being trying to do something good, you know what I'm saying? I think that's enough in this world, you just being a human being that's trying to evolve and learn new things and branch out here and there, because that's life. You can't just stay married to one approach, But someone just walked up to my house. I don't know if someone got a package or some food. I don't know. Anyway, next thing I want to go into is nuance and discernment. And according to Google's definitions of nuance and discernment, nuance is subtle differences, kind of stumbled over that word, but subtle differences in meaning, expression, or response, which to me means the ability to understand and accept everyone's unique differences and different takes and views, as well as the uniqueness of different situations and life experiences. But going on to discernment, Google's definition says the following. Whoa. Discernment is the ability to recognize similar details, accurately tell the difference between similar things, and make intelligent judgments by using such observations. Words are hard, kids. Words are hard. Which honestly is very similar, if not the same way I'd put it in my own words. But however, how does this look in the real world? How does it look like in your life or my life and just the world as a whole? It's two words: the internet. Because everyone has different opinions, perspectives, and viewpoints, which can be useful or a pure waste of time. Because on the internet, it obviously, people you follow, you can control the demographic of what you see on the internet. But once you go on that For You page, or you just start scrolling and you click one page and you go to another page, it can get kind of muddy. Just from experience, it can get really muddy. And some opinions, like obviously I would say my I guess quote unquote opinions, and just a lot of it's facts, I would say it's very helpful to the average person. But a lot of people spew BS and bias on the internet, which might seem like it's true, but it's really not. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully I didn't seem biased by saying that, because I ain't gonna lie, it's me saying it. But anyway, you get the point. Overall, people that know what they're talking about and speak the truth, saying, okay, you need to be consistent to get what you want out of life. You need to be disciplined instead of motivated, and you need to eat more whole foods, mostly plants, like stuff that we know, but we just don't really want to do it because we're too comfortable where we're at. But there's other people that say, oh, you need to be keto, you need to be 100% plant-based, or else you need to be alkaline vegan, you need to wear sheep wool and wear fins for shoes. I don't know, people just say outlandish things on the internet, and since it's so outlandish, which I've covered before, it grabs attention and it grabs people, because they're like, oh, maybe this is the new thing that will get me to lose 20 pounds or get me to be happy myself. In reality, it's none of those things. You're going to be stuck in a slippery slope, pause, oh my gosh, slippery slope, and you'll be wondering why you even did it in the first place, But like I kind of said, everyone has different opinions, perspectives, and viewpoints, which can be useful. Wait, am I reading the same thing? I think I'm reading the same thing. I'm just gonna be completely frank on here. I ain't cutting nothing out. So we gonna bounce back, going to the next thing I was trying to get into. But using nuance and discernment allows things to not be so black and white, because in the real world, they aren't. Because in the real world, there's so many different cultures, so many different religions, so many different political views, so many different everything. It's not black and white. Many things can be true at once, and I think that I forgot that in a sense because I just realized, because I think I was so married to certain approaches of how I thought of things and things that I did that I forgot that, hey, you can, like, change is a part of life. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be married to this approach and be rigid. You know what I'm saying? You can branch out, and if you branch out and it doesn't work, you can revise and go back, like I've said before. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like change, if you're scared of change, you'll never grow the way you're supposed to. You know what I'm saying? Because I just feel like change is very scary, because the thing is, you're doing something different than how you did it the past few months, few years, few decades even. You know what I'm saying? So it's something new, and it's something honestly challenging for a lot of people, because it's challenging the norm of what you think is right. Because what people think is right is so subjective. Some people, like I've said, might think BMW is the best car, which I frankly disagree. I think it's overrated. If you hate me for that, I'm sorry, but I think Mercedes is better. I might be biased because my mom has one, but anyway, point is, overall, what I'm trying to get at, people might think something is right, which you might not think is right because of your morals and values, which is okay. I think if we never understand the gray areas in reality, that many things can be true at once. Like, you can like BMW and you can like Mercedes and you can still be cool with that person. You don't have to antagonize them and attack them. Weird example, but you know what I'm saying? In the grand scheme of things, I'm trying to say, you can have two differing points. You can like this, or you can think this, and this person can think this and like this, and y'all can still be in cahoots and talk and have a civilized conversation and agree to disagree, you know? But however, that many things can be true at once, we'll always be spiteful towards others and fail to trust ourselves. So kind of like I just said, another example with cars, you could like BMWs and your friend could like Chevys. You know, you could agree to disagree. And hey, you might absorb something valuable from that, but you don't have to convert yourself to being a Chevy lover or a BMW lover if you generally cannot align yourself with liking Chevys or BMWs. Because if you generally can't align yourself with that, I would say that it's a waste of time. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't align yourself with that. Now, you can take nits and pieces from it and apply it to your own life, but you don't have to be that if that's not you. And I think I forgot that. I think I I forgot that you don't have to go all in on someone else's approach if that doesn't correlate with what you want to go all in on for your life, you know. And I just realized that it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It's not black and white. You can branch out and try different things and experiment, which experimentation can be scary for some, but I think, and I know it's needed, or even just a change in perspective, how you view things. I feel like just for me right now, I feel a shift in my life. I feel like something, either in the literal sense, like of me doing something and changing it, or even up here mentally changing something. Because I just think with me in my life right now, like as the title said, I don't feel content at all. I feel like I'm not really fulfilled, even though I kind of want to touch on this for a little bit, because it might seem, I've kind of touched on this before, but it might seem like, oh, I'm balling, like I'm running and blah, 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 which I am. But I just feel like, in a sense, I've kind of worried too much about, you know, what someone may say, or if someone's disagreeing with me on something, or about this and that, just little things, instead of taking care of my sleep and, you know, taking care of my stress management. I feel like if you don't take care of those things, I can't fully take care of me talking on here and giving y'all, you know, just a genuine part of me where I think about things and how you can apply it to yourself, and, you know, posting these recipe videos and posting these clips from the podcast and posting tips for fitness. You know, I don't feel like I can do that to my fullest capability. So I think something has to change for me personally, no matter if, you know, it could be like I said, in the literal sense of me like actively choosing action to change something. Well, both of them are action, but, you know, one is physical, one is mental, or maybe even both, you know. But I think it's amazing to learn new things, to branch out. But if it requires you to downplay your own goals, values, and aspirations, I would say it's more harmful than good, which, like I kind of mentioned, is what I realized this past year. Because I think it's been, for me personally, a reoccurring theme since 2020. You know what I'm saying? And I just, even my whole life, I've done little things, and I'd be kind of scared, in a sense, to, how I say this, kind of, Well, I'm processing right now. I gotta really think about this. So I can put it the way I want to. I would be okay. I'm gonna put it this way. I'm gonna put it very direct. I would say I was low-key a people pleaser, because I would feel like if I said no to something, I'd feel so bad. I'd be like, I can't go to your party. Like, I got to do homework. I'd feel so bad, and I think that stemmed into where I am now. And I feel like it's the fear of an uncertainty and the fear of change. I feel like that's kind of the two things I've always kind of had in the background. Because when I was younger, like I said, if I said no to something, or if someone didn't agree with me, or blah blah blah, or if I didn't want to do something the way someone wanted to, or just honestly saying no, I'd feel terrible. And I think it got me to where I am now, to where I low-key feel paralyzed to implement certain changes that I know are going to help me grow and help me be a better person, to be a better, creator, and be a better leader. And I just think once you harness that and you figure out how, I ain't gonna lie, this might sound offensive, but how stupid you're being, because I feel like I've been stupid in a lot of instances the past few months, because I've just been worrying about the dumbest things. Because I would always say worry about the simple things in life, and I don't feel like I was fully doing that, to be honest. But however, I think we can always pick up where we left off and make changes and grow from it. I don't think we have to bash ourselves, and also you need to be accountable and count up on your BS you've been doing. But at the same time, it's not a need to bash yourself and talk down on yourself, because the thing is it's only going to make it worse. But I'm done yapping about that. Third thing I kind of want to go into, which I think is very important, which the internet, I think a lot of people don't realize this, and even I know this, but I didn't fully apply it. There isn't a universal right answer. And I think the biggest example that applies to this is the one size fits all diet thing. Because some people think, like I've said, you need to be keto, you need to be fruitarian. Some people think you just need to breathe and you don't need to eat food. Some people think you need to be raw vegan. Some people think you need to be carnivore, which I would not advise. Please don't do that. Like, so many people think there's a one size fits all approach to life, but there isn't a universal right answer that applies to everything in life. Because it could be how many miles each person needs to train for a marathon. It could be how many calories you need versus person B to function. It could be your dietary needs and beliefs. Like, depending on it depends on a slew of different things, of experiences and just things that you've seen and research you've accumulated over the years. But I just think that if you live your life trying to find a universal right answer, you'll never be content or fulfilled or happy with I put in my notes a hard emphasis on your life, because I think you're honestly trying to live someone else's life, and honestly it just gets you nowhere. It gets you nowhere because you're trying to apply what this person thinks to what you think, but you don't even believe that, and like I kind of said, a fear of change. Because the thing is, the internet can be an interesting place, because people can get castrated for the wildest thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, the way they eat, the way they take care of their children, the way they walk, the clothes they wear, bro. You could literally get flamed for it. I mean, that's real life. Some people just have nothing better to do, but that can low-key be scary, especially if you're actually trying to do something good. And the change is probably not even that groundbreaking, but you just feel like, oh, if I do the small thing a bit different, especially if you're tied up with an identity as to how people view you, it might feel like it's World War III. It might feel like your world is just crashing, but it's really not like that, And it's just, I think a good book that kind of goes with this is The Courage to Be Disliked. And I kind of listened to it a bit when I went to the school this morning before I did my 8-mile workout I kind of mentioned earlier. Basically what I got from it is, he said the speaker isn't the author, but the dude that was speaking the book on Audible said something along the lines that if you're trying to live the expectations of other people, so he said something like, I don't know verbatim, but it says something like, that someone else could live your life for you. You know what I'm saying? Which sounded kind of crazy to me and kind of scary, because like, you're spending so much time worried about living someone else's life. Why not someone not taking your life, but you know what I'm saying? Like, what if someone else was like, took in stepped in and took the driver's seat of your life. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not even in the driver's seat of your life. So why? I don't even know where I'm going with this. I'm not gonna lie, but I just think the point is you're so consumed by someone else, and you're so consumed with whatever else that's not in your life that doesn't apply to you, that honestly you're not grateful for it, you know. So if you're not grateful for it, why couldn't someone else step in and take the driver's seat? Because honestly, you're not in the driver's seat anyway, so why should it matter? I don't know if that made any sense, but that's just my head trying to piece that together because it's kind of fresh. But I ain't gonna lie, that probably sounded so weird. But anyway, just like I said, I'm not cutting it out. But I think you can have all the right answers and still feel as though you're wrong at times, but this is where you go deep into yourself and maybe even reach out to a good mentor or friend, or maybe even therapy to find out what's really going on inside. Because like I said earlier, I think a lot of times we give other people advice, but we don't fully accept it for ourselves, which is weird. I don't know why we do that. A lot of people I've heard, like, I know I'm not the only person that's done that, but I think, like I said, I think it's a fear, and I think it's just the feeling of immense judgment if you apply it, because a lot of stuff requires you to take a risk, and risks are needed in life, but they're really scary because that risk might challenge someone else's norm, and it might cause someone else to maybe unfollow you or stop talking to you. But I think me thinking about it now and just saying, I think that's the point, because it helps narrow down who really believes in you and who really is down for the journey, down for the ride, you know, because it it cuts off dead weight of people that maybe didn't really support you in the first place, you know. But anyway, I ain't gonna lie, I feel like that part was all over the place, but hopefully y'all understood my little mumbo jumbo like in the back half of it. But anyway, last thing I want to go into before I wrap this episode up is setting the precedent and being okay with it. Now, by setting the precedent, I mean setting the standard and setting the blueprint of how you want to live your life, you know, and what you want to do, what you want to accomplish, and what goals you want to reach, you know, and being okay for that part of it. Main thing, the whole thing we were going over in this episode, being content, not being complacent, not being okay with just letting things go haywire, but being content and being fulfilled where you're currently at, where your 2 feet are right now, you know. And I think because I was reading what I wrote, but pretty much is what I just said. So I'm kind of like trying to navigate where I'm going to go from here. But I just think in today's day and age of differing opinions, harshness, and honestly rejection, it's so easy to rely on other people's own precedents for themselves and beliefs that you forget about your own, you know, because just with so much noise on the internet, if you see so much of the same belief that goes against what you believe, you're going to end up believing that belief that you didn't believe in the first place. And I see this with a lot of people. Not going to say any names because it's low-key political. I'm not finna get into that. But obviously, you kind of know where I'm going. There's a lot of yes men. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that are like, just because he's in power, I'm gonna go with that, even if it's completely morally wrong. Now, I'm not finna get into that because, you know, politics can get kind of interesting. But I think you can get where I'm going. But it applies to life in general. I think the best example, kind of what I said, is when people have power, when people have money, when people have, you know, status, it doesn't matter if the person following them, a person that's trying to, you know, low-key leech off of them, it doesn't matter if they believe it or not, because they're gaining something from it and they're getting more powerful, more popular, blah, 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 you know. And I don't think they're really okay with that. They don't believe in that. So, but at the same time, they've consumed that nonsense and think that they don't believe so much that it became just a reality, you know. And I think it's the same thing with life and the internet, especially the internet. You can consume something that you don't believe in, and honestly won't make you content in the long haul. But you consume it so much to the point where you're like, I believe it anyway. You know, why not? I give up, you know. But just speaking from experience, if you worry too much about other people's standards instead of your own, there's no clarity, there's no fulfillment, and no happiness. Just a looming feeling of what if. And just speaking from experience, I want to dive really deep into the looming feeling of what if. Because just speaking from experience, like I said, like the 1,000th time, it's an uneasy feeling. It feels weird. Like, I don't know if y'all have ever felt like that. It just makes you feel kind of queasy. Like, I don't know if this is a good word, but it just feels really strange. Because it's just, you're saying, oh, what if I did this? What if I did that? And then the whole reason you're doing this is to please other people. You know what I'm saying? Instead of pleasing yourself, pause. Not on a weird stuff, but, you know, it's just a looming lull period of nothing. Like, it's no progress, it's no risk being taken, it's no initiative being taken. It's just what if, you know what I'm saying? And this is really hard place to, I'd argue that this is harder than, obviously when you run, you go into, dark places, but I would say it's a pretty hard spot to be in, especially if you don't know how to go about it and how to change. In a lot of cases you just don't really honestly want to, because you're like, dang, if I do this, I'm putting something on the line, but in reality, once you cross the other side of it, which this is really like a talk to me and you, like, honestly, this whole episode was just me low-key venting a little bit, because I just wanted this episode to be fully authentic and fully up to date with how I feel right now. And just me saying all this can probably help other people that are maybe in the same boat, because I didn't want to come on here and make a video talking about like top 5 tips to get healthy. I mean, y'all already know how to do that. You know what I'm saying? I've covered that a lot. I just wanted it to be really me where I'm at right now, and I think me being me where I'm at right now can help a lot of people. Anyway, I just wanted to say that, because I think on this podcast, like, I like to go on tangents or whatever and just make it as authentic as possible. But anyway, other than that little tangent, it's just, that's a really hard spot to be, because I feel like the answers, but like I said, it's no risk, no initiative, no change being implemented. Because the thing is, that change is it seems so doomed, even though it's not, because you're gonna grow from it. But it's just the fact that it might be some pushback, and overall, me thinking about it right now, the pushback will probably dissolve, and those people might unfollow you, and you'll probably gain some more followers. Obviously, followers aren't everything, but you'll gain more members of your tribe and your little collective of what you're trying to do, and they'll be more supportive. You know what I'm saying? They'll be more, I guess, down on what you're doing in a sense. But kind of the last thing I want to say before I wrap it up, the change is hard, but once you find it and you're okay with it, there's honestly no stopping you. Because I think, me personally, I don't know if this sounds big-headed. If it does, I'm sorry, but I think I'm the only person. I think for you too, you're the only person in your own way. And I've realized that, honestly, because there's in periods of life, like right now, I wasn't really worried about what I'm worrying about. Worrying about English, please save me. I wasn't worried about what I was worried about, and I would say it was hard to stop, because I would just chipping away, going. Obviously, in life, you need to stop and reflect, but in certain parts of life, like, you just gotta go. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I just think I'm the only one in the way of myself. It's not the internet, because the thing is, they didn't tell me to go on the internet. I chose to go on there, and I just ended up going into rabbit holes and finding stuff to worry about. It's not their fault, even though it's an algorithm that's designed to do that. It's not their fault. I'm not the victim there. I'm the one that chose to do it, and I have to be the one to choose to stop doing it for the better of myself, and honestly for you too, because a lot of people, they scroll on TikTok all day and honestly just waste time, and I think, obviously there's a lot of things, a little side tangent, but I kind of want to cover this too. Like, a lot of things in life, people might think, oh, like, woe is me, like, oh, like, I'm the victim. In reality, I think a lot of things that we might feel victimized about, we're in more control than we think, and that's kind of hard to say, and it might be a bit harsh to some, but it's real, and I just want to come in here and just take accountability for stuff I've done, and I think you should too. You should put it on full display, because if you don't, especially when you have kids, like, and they do little slimy, grimy stuff, and they just like, oh, like, the teacher didn't grade my work on time, or the teacher didn't, like, no, like, you just didn't do the work, you know what I'm saying? And I just think once you realize that obviously there's some things that happen in life that are out of our control, that's completely normal and that's expected, but at the same time, once you take accountability for being content with your own life, which might sound so weird, like, taking a control of being content, but it's real, because if you don't take control, not grappling control, where you feel like, everything's so hyper focused or whatever, but at the same time, you're dialed in and what you're doing, and what triggers you on the internet, and what kind of rubs you the wrong way in a sense, what just doesn't work well for you from experimentation. You give yourself the ability to be content and be okay. You know what I'm saying? And be okay with what you're doing, not a person B or person C's doing, and give yourself the okay to just the okay to be happy, you know? Because I think happiness comes when you fully double down on what you want to do. And I don't feel like I'm fully there yet, to be honest. I don't feel like I'm not depresso espresso, but you know, I just think I'm not fully there yet. Just being honest, I'm not, because I just feel like I'm not fully there with being content with who I am as a person. Even though I've done a lot of things, I'm still starting out, but I think once you identify how you feel about yourself, you can go from there and see, okay, do I need to talk to someone else, or do I need to really go deep into what I think about myself, and maybe I need to reduce my screen time and just spend time with myself more, you know? Because like I said, me just being honest, I don't think I'm fully there yet, but I think we all can get there with some work and some consistency. Because I think just how I'm consistent with running, I need to be more consistent with my mental health and just sleeping and just doing the little things to be fully who I want to be, you know? But like I kind of said, change is hard, but once you find it and you're okay with it, there's no stopping you, because you're in the driver's seat of your own mind, and most importantly, your own life. So I'm sorry if that episode is all over the place, but I ain't gonna lie, that's kind of what's going on in my hair right now. I'm low-key all over the place, but I just wanted to come on here and just lay it kind of out there, you know, and be completely honest as to kind of things I've been dealing with and how we can both work on things, you know, because I think we all have to be students, lifelong students, as to, you know, our own life, and just learn things not learn things per se. Well, you're learning something, but learn that change is needed for growth, and change is needed to really be content and fulfilled, because you can challenge the norms and challenge, hey, why have I been doing this for so long? Why do I believe this and why do I believe that? Not completely flipping your world upside down, which it might in a sense, because you might have been doing things that never really correlated with what you think and believe, but at the same time, it's for the better, you know? But anyway, I'm gonna wrap the episode up there. It's kind of all I wanted to say. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the episode. Episode 91, we're almost getting to 100. We're going to be at 100, 9 more episodes. Yeah, math, 91 plus 9 is 100. But anyway, I'm done yapping now. Hopefully y'all enjoyed, and I'm going to see y'all next Wednesday.